Thank you for staying with Daybreak. The hashtag is Daybreak. Like we said, we'd like to hear what your thoughts are on the general news you're covering. We have a lot to talk about coming on the time when it's just after the holiday and a long weekend. At Trevor Mbija at Citizen TV Kenya, hashtag Daybreak 224222 is SMS line. Here's one of the subjects we're talking about. Should we do that before we introduce our guests, or first introduce our guests?
Introduce the guests first.
All right. We're still waiting for two more. We have Speaker Beatrice Elachi. Asante sana for coming in, and Honorable Alice Wahome, Kandara Member of Parliament, with us. We're still waiting for two more. As soon as they come in, we'll just dive into the discussion. Here's where we begin. Kenya sent at least 90 delegates to a legislative conference in Nashville, Tennessee last week. Kenya topped the list with at least 90 delegates, while Africa's largest economy, Nigeria, sent only 20. So
the information emerged out that even as the Office of the Controller of Budget revealed that members of Parliament spent more than 1 billion Kenyan shillings on foreign travel in only 9 months.
The latest report, 2018-2019 financial year, comes in the wake of pressure on Parliament to justify tens of millions used on a delegation of 85 legislators and members of staff sent to the United States to attend a legislative assembly. The Office of the Controller of Budget released a 9-month report showing how various arms of government have been splashing millions for comfort in the skies as public servants tour the world. In the report, Parliament tops the list with the National Assembly spending 510 million shillings, while the Parliamentary Service Commission paying 497 million shillings for foreign travel in 9 months alone. Quick math shows that Parliament spend an average of 111 million shillings every month to have MPs fly out of the country. Monica Juma's Foreign Affairs Ministry leading other ministries in foreign travel expenditure, having incurred an expenditure of 801 million shillings on foreign travel in 9 months, an average of 89 million shillings per month. The Sports Ministry spent 325 million shillings in the same period. Chief Justice David Maraga's led judiciary spent 25 million shillings separate from the Judicial Service Commission, while the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions spending 55.9 million shillings to travel abroad. In September 2017, Head of Public Service Joseph Kinyua issued a circular to all government officials barring them from travelling abroad unless cleared by the President, as the Kenyatta regime proposed cuts on foreign travel as part of a wide range of austerity measures. Following the directive, the latest Controller of Budget report has shown that the presidency spent only 53.2 million shillings in 9 months for foreign travel. ODM leader Raila Odinga is now calling for taming of foreign travel, accusing MPs of being a bad example.
Many countries now are tired of receiving Kenyan delegations. Even Kenyan embassies abroad will tell you they are tired. If they are not members of the National Assembly and Senate, they are MCAs running around that they are coming to do benchmarking. The other day in Dubai, I was transiting and I meet a whole county assembly from one of our counties, I don't want to mention which one, that they are going to do benchmarking in Dubai. Dubai does not have a devolved system. Dubai has got a ruler who appoint people all over. So they don't have people to go and benchmark with. It is a shame.
Stephen Leto, Citizen TV, Nairobi.
Yeah, because the politicians are hated in
right.
Africa.
And that discussion already started even before the story ended. Like we said, Agnes Ibarra is now joining us. She's an aspiring politician as well. And Honorable Alice Wahome, Kandara Member of Parliament, is with us. And Speaker Beatrice Elachi is also with us. We're still waiting for June Degwas, a nominated MCA. If she comes up, we'll bring her in.
Definitely.
But that's where we start. And Honorable Wahome, I want to start with you because you're the one who was grumbling first. Do you think that is prudent use of money? National Assembly spending 1.7 billion.
First and foremost, I don't know why you are using the word grumbling. That's a very bad description. Trevor, I take...
we were speaking, I withdraw and
you
apologize.
You better withdraw and apologize, but I want to greet my viewers and the people of Kandara who have brought me this far. And my God, I'm glad to be here again. I have been running away from Winnie's. He's been looking for me, but I think the topic is exaggerated. First and foremost, when you say Parliament has sent 90 registrators, you have not given the particulars of the list. Because, you know, when you talk about Parliament, you have, and then you include the MCAs, and the whole list looks like it's from Parliament. I think that is definitely taking the same cue, giving Parliament a bad name, give a dog a bad name, then kill it. I want to say that exaggerations and wastage is not acceptable, even in Parliament. And I would also not want to recommend delegates that do not make sense, that have no business going other than just maybe taking a trip to the United States or elsewhere. So therefore, this list needs to be broken down to Kenyans. And where there are excesses, I think Parliament must own up to the people of Kenya, because really we are accountable. But you must understand that in Parliament, there is no delegation that can go without the supporting staff, that is the clerks of different committees, that are the ones that support in terms of reporting, in terms of writing the report and collecting data and information. Basically, we would go for capacity building, Parliament would go for benchmarking, and when you look at the delegation led by the National Assembly Speaker and the Senate Speaker, then you must first tell Kenyans about the theme or why this delegation had to go, especially led by the... You don't expect the Speaker of the National Assembly is on a, what do you call it, on a happy-go tour into the United States. So therefore, I still think that the media must be positive in its reporting.
In your experience,
because I'm sure you have reporters there, they should be telling us about the discussions. I'm not there myself. And I think that's where we lose the point.
Okay.
Say the delegation looks, in their view, appears to be big, but also let the country know what are the topics that are being discussed.
In your view, was it possible to have fewer people who would come with a report rather than the 90? We didn't say it's in the National Assembly only, we said 90 delegates, so it's across board, but could have fewer people who have gotten the same result?
You know, we have 47 assemblies in this country. First and foremost, start from there. You know, that's why we are saying we need to punguza mzigo. Which assembly will go and which will not know. Assuming in this country you take 2 members of the county assemblies out of 47, then already you'll have how many? 90. If that conference is important, then you'll have 94. So you see, you have to understand the governance structure of this country.
But could
we have Senate, so therefore I'm saying, Murang'a County Assembly is not Nairobi County Assembly. And in this list, you have several members of the county assemblies and their staff. In National Assembly, you have Senate and you have the National Assembly. So let us be constructive in our debates. I really don't want to join the gravy train and say it's good. I think we need to break down the figures. So therefore, I cannot tell you whether this delegation is big than it should be.
But in your view, have you experienced instances where there are joyriders? People only go there because of equality, what you're saying. It's 47 counties, so everyone has to go, at least to make sure that everyone is represented.
It is very rare, because in instances where myself have attended, we'll have maybe one extra clerk may have not gone. You'll have maximum. Parliament has a policy where only 7 members of each committee can leave the country. We have over 18 committees. And therefore, even if you look at Parliament itself, if you were to pick 2 members from each committee or the relevant committees to this particular subject, then you will find that even if you take 5 or 6 committees, you'll have about 12, then the support staff. So I think let us strive. I would want a debate where we put the cards on the table, and I'm saying occasionally you'll find that maybe the sporting, the what, I think Parliament must be careful.
Okay.
Parliament must be careful, because and as you say, we should not spend where we are not supposed to spend.
Okay.
Yeah.
Speaker, let me come to you, Honorable Elachi. Are these trips necessary?
Well, the trips are necessary. It depends on what you're going to benchmark. I think the most important thing is the biggest challenge the country faces, as my chair says, Honorable Alice, is that do we define? I think we need to define now properly the 47 county assemblies with Parliament. And I think that's where maybe we went wrong a bit with the law. Because today, you cannot question any county assembly because they'll tell you Parliament is doing the same. But now when we come in terms of real work, Parliament does work.
And speaking of real work, where is the evidence? One would ask, where is the evidence that this travels, this benchmarking actually bears fruit back here at home when they come back?
You see, with Parliament, Parliament is under the Commonwealth countries. And therefore, they have what we call many parliamentary linkages or programs that they work similarly together. And therefore, even if you wouldn't want to go, the Parliament of Uganda, Parliament of Tanzania, Kenya, Rwanda, all of them are the same as the ones of Europe, of Canada, Australia. And so we have similar programs within the Commonwealth program or calendar that they have to go through. Now, where we need to now ask ourselves is how do we help the county assemblies? Because now, when we went into the new structure of government, the county assemblies have not been structured properly into that Commonwealth program. So, but you'll find whenever there's a program, they'll say, but Parliament is doing that. Whenever Parliament is taking house allowance, they have to do that. So, but where is that law that says, because you have 47 county assemblies, you will be following? So what Parliament has to do is either restructure the law to say 47 county assemblies are parliaments. And that way, you will now come to know when you're supposed to travel to benchmark. And after you benchmark, how do you bring back what you've benchmarked, and how can you audit that I went for a trip and I learned this and it is back?
Right.
Parliament is more monitored because they will come back, they will table the report. Now, the county assemblies, if you ask them any report since they ever traveled, and I'm sorry to say, there's none. And that is where we've had, I've had also this problem with it, that you can't just be traveling and you don't have even a report to bring back, so that when the Auditor General questions this money, it is attached with a report that we went, we benchmarked, and this is what we've learned.
Let's rope in Agnes. Agnes, how do we convert these trips? What she's talking about. How do we convert these trips, this foreign benchmarking, these audits into actual projects on the ground that are helping the Wanjikus?
I'm not a governance expert, and I'd like to point out what Mheshimiwa Ali said. Our governance structure is, can I be very blunt, is failing the Mwananchi. So far, we haven't seen any results, any tangible results of any benchmarking trip made by either the county assemblies, the MCAs, or the MPs. So I don't think that trips translate to anything. The Kenyan Mwananchi want to see the actual work being done. They want to see MPs working. They want to see change effected, and they want money in their pockets. So I don't think there's any way around it, and the trips are not necessary. Yeah, I think the MPs could have, all the legislators. You've mentioned that we have had the biggest delegation in Africa. At this time and age where everything, all media houses, all the cameras, all the newspapers are pointing at Parliament, I think they could have exercised a little bit of sensitivity. Kenyans right now are complaining about the wage bill. They are complaining about over-representation, and then having such a huge delegate representing Kenya, and Kenyans don't even feel that effect on the ground. It's very insensitive. I think all the legislators that represented us, as they enter the country, they should actually apologize to the citizens and tell them that, and actually point out the purpose and what they achieved. We don't need reports anymore. We need actual work.
Okay. Honorable
I think Parliament, where maybe Parliament, I could agree with Agnes, Parliament fails, is in terms of our communication strategy. The spokespersons, the communication office of Parliament is doing very poor work. By this time, they ought to have, brought out the issues, other than, because it's not enough to defend the numbers. You need to communicate and say this trip, and because I don't speak for Parliament myself, there is a communication office that should be addressing the issues, the concerns that Kenyans are raising regarding this trip. And even from there is, of course, the communication team that is supposed to be saying this trip was about this, and the numbers we are talking about are important because of 1, 2, 3. Maybe that's where Parliament, I would say, is failing. But it is not entirely true that you can, generally argue that it's wastage. Each committee, these people are drawn from various committees, and each committee has a budget for travel. And that travel is not entertainment. That Kenyans must understand. And my sister here is saying that they cannot see the results. I want to tell the country is that at the turn of every general elections, we have 60% of Parliament. Actually, this one is 61% of Parliament is new legislators who have not been trained, who have never been in Parliament. And then maybe the balance 39 are people who are serving a second or third time. Those would have necessary skills, and of course, if it's a Commonwealth conference like what we are talking about, then you understand that countries' work and linkage is important. And therefore, let's not just demonize. I think it is the numbers that have maybe raised concerns, but I think we also need to go beyond that and see why was this trip necessary, and in future, can we cut down the numbers so that we actually then appear to utilize money in a sensitive manner.
So let's forget about the numbers.
So we don't go beyond there is no way you can even travel if a committee does not have its own budget. Okay. And a member is traveling like once a year. Okay.
Yeah. You speak of budgets, and let's go beyond the numbers in a bit. So National Assembly spent 510 million in 2018. PSC spent 497 million. That comes to about 1.07 billion shillings in foreign travel. Do you think this money should be redeployed, these resources reallocated to something more important?
Trevor, you know, actually, if I knew that we are going to come here and discuss this, you know, and it's important. It's
not the only thing we're going to talk about.
No. I think let's move away from this, because I have just said that Parliament travels according to budget. This budget is approved.
Should that budget be relooked at? That's what I'm saying. Should it be redeployed to other much more important things?
I don't think it is the budget is excessive. In fact, you know, National Assembly budget is less than 1.5% of the total country's budget. We are talking about a budget that is 1.5 to run one arm of government. Trevor, let this country understand the country cannot move without Parliament. And I mean both the Senate and the National Assembly. We are giving county governments and the national executive government, we are working with a budget of 3 trillion. And for you to imagine that then Parliament spending 1.5 of that to oversight both county governments and national executive government is a lot of money. I think let us not demonize Parliament like we are used. Parliament is people's representative. I will always defend Parliament, but I will agree where we have excess. Let us remove it. I don't think we can sit here and say maybe this budget. Look at the wastages in terms of unimplemented projects and the thefts. Parliament is not, there has no money to steal, actually. There is no money that gets lost through Parliament.
All right. So
maybe in terms of expenditure, you can scrutinize and say, possibly this can do this particular work. Like, members of Parliament don't even have sufficient working spaces.
Right.
Maybe that's where we should reapply the money.
Okay. Yeah. Speaking of working spaces, let's take a quick break here on Daybreak. When we come back, front page of the Daily Nation, counties grind to a halt. Staff go without July pay. The deadlock there, and they're saying they're going to down their tools. But that right after the break.